Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise, really pull out the key insights from the sources so you can get informed fast. Today we are plunging into something pretty high stakes, an upcoming summit, two global powers meeting, and, well, a significant reaction from a third major player almost immediately.
Yeah, and our sources for this, we've got official statements from India's Ministry of External Affairs, social media posts from the U.S. president, and communications coming straight out of the Kremlin.
Right. And for you listening in, our mission here is basically to unpack the core details of this meeting that everyone's anticipating. We need to understand India's specific stance, which is quite strategic, and explore the stated goals from, the main players involved. And there's also one intriguing element, maybe even controversial, that really jumps out from the sources. It's just fascinating how quickly things are moving and how different nations react, isn't it? It really shows those shifts in global dynamics. Absolutely. So this summit has definitely created a lot of buzz. Let's start there. What are the essential details? Who's meeting? When? Where? Can you set the scene?
Okay, yeah, so the sources confirm U.S. President Donald Trump announced he's meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
It's highly anticipated, as you said.
Yeah.
And it's scheduled for Friday, August 15th, 2025. The location, Alaska.
Alaska. Okay.
And it marks President Putin's first trip to the U.S. since way back in 2015.
2015. Wow. When he met Obama, right?
That's the one, yeah. Met with former President Barack Obama then. So it's been a while.
Okay. So that's the setup. Now, beyond just the announcement itself, India's reaction seems like a really key piece here. What are the sources telling us about their official take?
Well, India's been very clear they welcomed it. The Ministry of External Affairs, the MEA, they put out a statement. And it says, let me quote it directly, India welcomes the understanding reached between the United States and the Russian Federation for a meeting in Alaska on 15th August 2025.
Welcomes the understanding. That sounds quite positive, quite fast. Is that just standard diplomatic language, or do you read more into it? Maybe, a strategic move for India, balancing things out.
That's a really good point. I think it's more than just standard procedure. India's swift, positive reaction here feels strategic because the statement didn't just stop there. It went on to say that this meeting holds the promise of bringing to an end the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and opening up the prospects for peace.
Ah, okay. So linking it directly to Ukraine and peace.
Exactly. And this lines up perfectly with what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been saying consistently. You know his phrase, this is not an era of war.
Right, I remember that.
So for India, this move positions them as, well, a strong voice for de-escalation. It fits their foreign policy, sure, but it also potentially boosts their standing. Like maybe they see a role for themselves as, if not a mediator, at least a facilitator for peace between these major powers. It's a careful balancing act.
That makes a lot of sense. It's quite nuanced. So, okay, India welcomes it, hoping for peace. What about the leaders themselves? What's actually on the table for this summit, according to the sources? What are Trump and Putin supposed to talk about?
Well, the Kremlin gave us some clues there. They put out information saying the leaders would, quote, focus on discussing options for achieving a long-term, peaceful resolution to the Ukrainian crisis.
Focus on options for peace in Ukraine.
Okay.
Yeah. But they also described the whole process as challenging.
Challenging.
But they added that Moscow would engage in it actively and energetically.
Challenging, but active and energetic. What do you make of that phrasing? Is that genuine commitment or maybe just managing expectations, lowering the bar for a quick fix?
It's probably a bit of both, isn't it? Calling it challenging acknowledges the reality. Everyone knows this is incredibly complex, deep-rooted stuff. It signals, don't expect miracles overnight.
Yeah, but adding active and energetic sends another signal. It tells the world, look, we're willing to show up and engage seriously, even if it's tough. So yeah, it manages expectations, but keeps the door open for, actual substantive discussions.
Right. Diplomatic language doing its work. Now, as we were going through these sources, one specific comment really jumped out at me. It was from President Trump, hinting at something potentially, controversial.
Oh yeah, that one definitely caught my eye too. It was while he was speaking at the White House, actually during the signing ceremony for the Armenia-Azerbaijan peace accord. Another complex situation involving territory, right? And President Trump suggested that striking a deal, maybe this deal, could involve exchanging land. He said, and this is the quote, we're going to get some back and we're going to get some switch. There'll be some swapping of.
Swapping of land in relation to Ukraine.
Well, he didn't explicitly say Ukraine in that exact sentence, but given the context of the upcoming summit focused on Ukraine, it's a pretty provocative idea. This whole concept of land swapping is incredibly sensitive in international relations,
Hmm.
especially when you're talking about annexed or occupied territory.
Strangely
It
sensitive.
immediately makes you wonder, okay, what land? Is he thinking about Crimea, parts of the Donbas, and, what kind of precedent does that set? If major powers start swapping contested land to make peace deals, what does that mean for borders and territorial integrity elsewhere?
It's a massive question. Just the idea of proposing land swaps in a conflict like this in this day and age, it feels almost unprecedented, doesn't it?
It really does. It highlights how unconventional these talks might become, if that's truly something being considered.
Okay, so let's recap the essentials you, the listener, should take away from these sources. We have this upcoming U.S.-Russia summit in Alaska. The focus is clearly stated as the Ukrainian crisis. We've got India giving it clear support, strategically framed around the hope for peace. And then the Kremlin acknowledging it's going to be challenging, while President Trump throws out this really surprising, potentially explosive idea about swapping land.
Exactly. And if you sort of zoom out, connect this to the bigger picture, what this deep dive really shows is just how complex these international peace efforts are. It's not just about the two main parties in the room. You have other major players like India weighing in significantly. And there's always this tension, isn't there, between the careful diplomatic words and what might actually be happening or being proposed behind the scenes, especially with ideas like land swapping floating around.
Right. Which leads us to a final thought for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. Given that the Kremlin itself calls the process challenging and you have President Trump mentioning the swapping of land, what could the actual real world consequences of negotiations